guys, but in Chinese.
I thought New York was a really dangerous city, lots of crime going on, but clearly San Francisco is much more dangerous. 10 out of 10 city. So the time has come for another traveling trip. However, this time it's going to be difficult because I'm not taking my big traveling backpack, which was like 70 liters. Instead, I have to take this little guy. And the reason for that is I'm trying to make my way over the Atlantic. So I was gonna fly for about $800 to Turkey, but I found a ticket to Norway for $137. But the problem is that ticket does not let me take on anything other than a personal item with me. So I have to pack everything into a small little backpack. So what I'm taking is 6 socks, a short, 6 pairs of underwear, 2 shirts, plus the one that I'm gonna wear, 1 pair of pants. I think that's it. I mean, I really can't fit much more, so it's gonna have to be that, plus some toiletries and stuff. The rest, I think I'm just gonna buy from Southeast Asia once I get there, or Turkey. The trip begins with 1 week in New York first. I have a friend there and I've been meaning to see him for a while. Also, every flight out of America is cheaper from New York. So I figured I'd spend about a week there and then fly to Norway. Got my tickets. Need to take the train now to New York Penn Station. So I got on this train, but I have no idea if it's going to stop at New York Penn Station. It's all very confusing because their signs are not very clear. And I mean, I've been to a lot of train stations, but this one definitely wasn't intuitive. So I got to the right place, but for the life of me, I can't understand why there's a place called New York and Newark right next to each other. I gotta find the exit and go to 8th Street and 34th Street. That's where I'll take the E Metro for 3 or 4 stops, and that'll take me to my friend's house. Bikes, they're like 15 bucks an hour plus like 20 bucks for a day pass, but they're electric. They're like insanely fast and you can cover a lot of distance very quickly. Basically seeing all of New York now. Right now we're basically all the way south on the island. Now we're gonna cross the Brooklyn Bridge. Since we crossed the bridge now, that means we're in Brooklyn. Looks pretty much the same, you know, all buildings are kind of brick or really high skyscrapers. That's kind of the vibe here. Seems like a nice little neighborhood in Brooklyn. Cool trees and cute little houses. We're gonna swap the bikes every 30 minutes, but I just grab my friend's and he grabs mine.
That's what she said!
So that's Manhattan. It's like a little island. That's the Statue of Liberty. So it's called Dumbo because it stands for Down Under Manhattan Bridge. Dumbo. That's the Manhattan Bridge. On our way back to Manhattan now. So we're gonna take Manhattan Bridge back to Manhattan Island. So now this is Chinatown. Not Thai, but in Chinese. Bikes, and now we're gonna get some food at Chinatown. Bondi Sushi Bar. This is where we're eating today. Yellowtail jalapeno appetizer.
Nice.
Seared Wagyu and seared Otoro. This was hands down the best sushi I've had in the United States, for sure. Maybe in my life, and I've been to Japan. The guy, the general manager here, some Korean guy, he was really nice to us. He gave us free beer, talked to us a lot, you know, told us about his life, how he came from Florida and started the store working here. I don't know if he opened it, but it was a really nice guy. Definitely would recommend everyone to come try this place. Going now on a non-electric bike, this time from east side to west side. So you can see these train tracks. This used to be an old train station, but they converted it to a park. Alright, second day in New York. I got a couple issues. So first I'm gonna go to the gym. I found a Crunch Fitness close to here, and I have a membership that lets me go everywhere. Second issue, the GoPro broke, so I need to find a Best Buy and return that and somehow get a new GoPro. There are about 3 Crunch Fitnesses, all like 7 minutes away from where I'm staying. And that's kind of the thing about the city, like you can walk in any direction and you'll get whatever you need, convenience store, gym, in maybe 10 minutes. This is the new GoPro that I got. It was a pretty easy experience, just exchanged it. Alright, so now we can get moving. The plan is to go to Central Park, but first I gotta eat. So let me find a Chipotle here, get myself a big bowl, and that'll be my fuel for the day. You know, this is 5th Avenue, by the way. It's one of the busiest streets. As you can see, this is what the intersection looks like. Quite a mess, but now it's our turn to walk, so we're crossing. The other thing about New York is if you're not jaywalking, then it means you're not from around here, because it seems like when you find an opportunity to cross, you cross. That's what the locals do. Is it a fire? No. I don't want to film that. It's some sort of health issue. I found the Chipotle. Let's go. Can I get a chicken bowl for here? White rice, pinto. And then can I get chicken? Kind of a very stressful Chipotle order. The lady was really rushing everyone. I guess that's New York for you. Everyone here is trying to go somewhere. There's no one on the street who's just kind of chilling, you know, everyone's walking. Everyone's always trying to go somewhere. As opposed to San Francisco, you know, that's where I live. You know, sometimes people on the street are hanging out, talking to each other, or just doing nothing, looking around. SF is more of a chill city, I guess, and New York is more upbeat and rushed. In most downtown toilets that I've seen, they have this code that's on your receipt, so you know non-customers don't use your bathrooms. So this is 6th Street, very tall buildings here. In fact, that super skinny tall building. I'm not sure if it's the tallest building, but it's a residential building, and the CEO of Citadel bought the penthouse apartment there for like $225 million or something. In New York, you see these big buildings everywhere. Like in San Francisco, you only see them at downtown, but New York, you can go east-west, you can see a big skyscraper next to this really short building, and clearly those are old buildings that are going to be renovated soon. The other thing is people are very well dressed here, as opposed to San Francisco, where you kind of just wear anything you want. In that sense, a definitely more metropolitan city. You hear a lot of languages when you're walking around here. You see a lot of people smoke cigarettes. Almost no one smokes cigarettes in San Francisco, and in both cities you see people smoke the other tobacco as well. Quite frequently on the street you can smell some sort of smoke. And also these food trucks, you don't have these in San Francisco, but in New York things like food trucks, that's Caribbean, Korean, American, different countries, different types of food all around. The halal guys, I think they got famous in New York. Definitely see a lot of those around. And also people like this guy selling some art or something, I don't know what it is, but and also the honking, you know, lots of noise here, lots of stuff going on. It's a busy city. Come to Walgreens to get myself an energy drink. I wish they had a Bang energy drink, but I'm gonna have to settle for a Monster. The other thing I realized is I thought New York was a really dangerous city, lots of crime going on, but clearly San Francisco is much more dangerous. I've never felt unsafe walking in the streets of New York so far, but in San Francisco, you know, especially in like the Tenderloin region, you definitely don't want to be out there by yourself, even during the day. And then this Walgreens in San Francisco, in the middle of downtown, Walgreens would definitely have an armed security guard. Nothing like that here. They would be putting stuff behind the locked cabinets, even, you know, $7 nuts or something. You need to have someone open the case in San Francisco to be able to hold them and take them to the checkout region. Nothing like that here. Made myself a special drink to power myself through the streets of New York. Let's carry on with our journey. Fine dining, right at the corner of 6th Avenue. We made it to Central Park. It's a nice park, not bad. But of all the bad things I've said about SF, I have to say that they have the best parks in the world. Golden Gate Park, unbeatable. And also you have these random beautiful parks that aren't even famous, but in the middle of the city, in San Francisco, of course. But yeah, this isn't bad. It's a sunny day. Park's pretty big. It's interesting because it's like right in the middle of the city, in the middle of these big ass skyscrapers. Feels like a little haven, you know, a sanctuary where you can still be in touch with nature, even though you're in one of the biggest cities in the world. So that part of it is interesting, the stark contrast between the big city skyscrapers and nature. This guy's just having a party all by himself. That's cool. That people will do in San Francisco. Random guys will do random things that make no sense. They live in their own world, which is nice, because it's a free country. Do whatever you want. I think you can go ice skating there, but I'm not even gonna bother because it's sunny, you know, so I'm pretty sure that they don't have it anymore. But I've been here in the winter once, and it was nice to, you know, be able to ice skate in the middle of the city. That's cool. A lot of people tanning here. The thing I like about SF parks or San Francisco in general is that there are always these like either hippie people or homeless people that are always kind of just doing some interesting things, like playing some bongo drums, or I don't know, like juggling, you know, doing random interesting things in parks. And so when you go to a park and you watch them, it makes your experience interesting too. But I don't see that here because it seems like, you know, everyone here is more serious. This is a more serious city. Everyone is, like I said, trying to go somewhere. That's how people are just kind of chilling, you know? Or at least there's like a crowd of people who are always chilling and a crowd of people who are always working. It's a city that's like the mixture of that. So I've been walking for about 20 minutes and I'm almost in the middle of the park. And the reason I'm here is because there's this castle that I want to see. It's a castle in the middle of the park. Pretty interesting. I guess that's one thing that's nice about New York, is that it has some history. You know, this is where, or the East Coast is where the Europeans first came when they started the country, you know, the Federation of the States. So there's a lot of European influence here. I don't know if this castle's European or whatever, but just saying that there's more history on this side of the country as opposed to the West. Bless you. Ooh, nice lookout. I think that's gonna be it for Central Park. Seems like the upper part doesn't have much more, you know? So exiting to the west, back on the street now. I'm not sure what street this is. Oh, Central Park West. It's basically the street right on the edge of Central Park. I'm just gonna walk south until I get to Columbus Circle. That's where you can take the Broadway street all the way down. So I'm going, you know, from Midway, Central Park, down to the end of Manhattan Island through Broadway, which kind of cuts through all the touristy stuff. Path water. It's like $3. It comes with water in it, and you can reuse it as a water bottle. Cheaper than whatever store-bought hydro flask or whatever you would buy. Of course, it's not insulated, but it's, you know, aluminum, still good quality. Path water. If you're watching this, sponsor me. Or Chipotle. Chipotle or Path water. I want a sponsorship. These buildings are actually huge. That's like, I bet that's like 80 floors. So yeah, this is Columbus Circle. This is where I was trying to come. Basically a big roundabout. Let me catch this light. And here I can take Broadway. So Broadway is just this, like, New York is like a grid, right? So everything is like 90 degrees, but Broadway cuts diagonal across. So you can see a lot of things. We're making our way to the famous Times Square, where all the buildings have ads. Oh, also in San Francisco, all stores have their windows boarded up with plywood so that they don't get broken into, which I haven't seen in New York. You know, merchandise outside on the streets, which is rare because it would get stolen. Jaywalking, of course. 3 t-shirts for $11. How can that be? Selling Broadway tickets here. About $100 maybe for an average ticket. Most I've seen is $200. It's a good amount of money for just one show, but it's famous, you know. So this is the center of Times Square. It's all big screens, ads, people in costumes, just a bunch of tourists, you know, hanging out. And then, oh yeah, so this line, that line of people, they're waiting to get Broadway tickets for cheap. It's a really long line. It's cool. You really feel alive here, you know? Like you're in the middle of everything. At Starbucks, filling my path water. Back on the streets. So I was just gonna go into this Macy's to use the bathroom, and look what I saw. What? That's weird. Made in Indonesia. I'm already going to Indonesia. I'll just buy from there. See the famous Empire State Building. Empire State Building! Used to be the tallest building, but now that's obviously not true anymore. Still a pretty nice building. No standing. You gotta sit down here. Guess that's why all these people are sitting down. I'm breaking the law of it. Standing up. Actually though, what does that mean? No standing. So this is Madison Avenue. That's Madison Square Garden. Let's see. Let's check out the park. You can see that triangular building, because like I said, Broadway is diagonal, right? So that building has, one side is 90 degrees, the other side is kind of angled, you know? Yeah, this is Madison Square. Pretty nice park, you know? I would come lay here on a sunny day. I think this is a good place to call it a day. Madison Square Garden. To kind of wrap it up, what kind of city is New York? I guess New York is a city, a busy city where a lot of people live, a lot of different cultures interact here. Everyone is always doing something. It's a city where whatever you need is always a few minutes away, where you can never run out of things to do. I guess it's a place that everyone should live at least once in their lives, or at least visit once. I thought this was going to be a cold, harsh city. You know, that's kind of the vibe you get from the outside. But I don't know if it's maybe because it's a sunny day, but it seemed like a pretty friendly city. Nothing but good vibes to offer. I would rate the city I want to say a 10 out of 10, but you can't give something a 10 out of 10 without seeing everything. So we'll say 9 out of 10. Well, New York would not be complete without some $1 pizza. And I saw a store on my way home today, so I gotta come try one. Okay, I'll take a pepperoni. Cash or okay. Changed my mind. I got 2 slices of cheese for $1 instead of 1 pepperoni. Now let's see what it tastes like. Decent, pretty good pizza. Just like regular pizza, $1 per slice. 10 out of 10 city. So we took E all the way here, and this is JFK. And we're almost here. Perfect. At least 2 hours. All right, we passed security and finally checked in for our $137 flight to Norway. Let's go. Thanks. All right, ready to board this 8-hour flight. Probably just gonna take some melatonin and wake up in Norway at like 2 p.m. and be ready to explore the city.
If you prefer to continue your journey in our
This was not the plane that I was
we also
expecting.
have upgrades available for
One bread for $5. Okay, it's kind of expensive.
That's actually really cool.
Viking fjord. Feel the blood of the Norwegians.